Hey, so as you can see by the title, today we're going to be talking about the whole needing dysphoria to be trans debate. So to answer the question, do you need to experience dysphoria to be trans? As the shortest answer possible, yes and no. Don't worry, I will explain. So the first thing that you need to think about is the fact that dysphoria isn't just one thing. There are actually two main types of dysphoria, gender dysphoria and body dysphoria. Although many people, probably including myself, just refer to the whole thing as dysphoria, which I think can have some people confused by the fact that there's actually two different types and just see dysphoria as one big whole thing sort of mashed up into one. So what's the difference between gender dysphoria and body dysphoria? Gender dysphoria is basically the discomfort in the gender that you were assigned at birth. So basically your gender identity, how you feel about your gender up here, and the gender you're assigned at birth aren't aligned, which is basically a description of a trans person. Any trans person, no matter how you identify, FTM, MTF, non-binary, a specific label within the non-binary identity, you will feel this because you were assigned either male or female at birth. That's how it works. They look at your genitals and go, you're a boy, you're a girl, and you're like, no. But you know that you're either non-binary, male, female, and it doesn't align with that gender that you were assigned at birth. So gender dysphoria is basically how you know that you're trans and sort of what makes you trans, because cis people don't have gender dysphoria because they were assigned male or female at birth, and they identify with that gender they're assigned. And then there's body dysphoria, which is basically the uncomfortability with certain parts of your body. So typically speaking, can't speak for everybody because it does vary completely from person to person how strong the dysphoria is, what the dysphoric about, etc, etc. But sort of as a general whole of some things that certain people are dysphoric about. A lot of trans men are dysphoric about the chest because obviously puberty, you grow these lumps of fat that are considered a very feminine or female thing, and that's normally quite uncomfortable to experience and not nice to have to carry around with you all day. And normally also with your genitals, because they're kind of what's used to decide if you're male or female. So many people think that if you've got one set of genitals, you're not this other gender that's normally not associated with those genitals. I don't really want to be saying names, I don't want to upset anybody. And there's things like your voice. A lot of trans men have quite high voices, a lot of trans women have quite low voices, and because that's not sort of typical for that gender, it can make people feel really sort of self-conscious and uncomfortable with it. So as you might have probably guessed from me talking about it, that very much strongly relates to gender dysphoria. But there are plenty of trans people that don't have problems with the body, that don't experience dysphoria, don't experience a lot of dysphoria. For some trans people, they look at their body and they don't think of it as a male or a female body, they just think of it as their body. So if they identify as male, it's a male body because it's theirs and they're male. So they basically don't think about the fact that that's normally associated with women. They're like, well, I'm a man, and this is my body that's attached to me, so this is a male body. And then with non-binary people, because they're not in sort of this binary, they might not experience dysphoria the same as a binary trans person would. Obviously, it's important to note that all trans people are different, all dysphoria takes forms in different ways, and different severities for everybody. All people transition both socially and medically differently. You know, just because some trans guys get like every operation that's available and want their body to look as sort of stereotypically male as possible, doesn't mean that every trans man wants that. But basically what I'm trying to say is that gender dysphoria is basically being trans. So in the case of do you need gender dysphoria to be trans, well yeah, kind of, because gender dysphoria is basically being trans. I don't know exactly how things work in other countries and things, but to get started with medical transition in the UK, you first need to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria, basically confirming that you are trans. But body dysphoria isn't something that all trans people experience. And as I said before, body dysphoria often links mainly into gender dysphoria. Basically because you have body dysphoria because you're trans. Basically because you generally be uncomfortable with certain characteristics and things to do with your body, because those are things that are generally associated with another gender. And so for me, because I was assigned female at birth but I identify as male, I have gender dysphoria, I know that I'm male and I'm uncomfortable with being referred to as female. I have body dysphoria about my chest and about my stuff, because those things are generally associated by most people as female characteristics. And so that links back to me being uncomfortable being referred to or seen as female when my body sort of reflects a female person. But again, there are plenty of trans people that don't experience body dysphoria because they don't see their body as a male or female body, they see it as their body. So however they identify, that's what their body is gendered as. So yeah, basically long and short of this video is gender dysphoria. Yes, you need gender dysphoria to be trans because that is being trans. It's the uncomfortability with the gender you're assigned at birth and knowing that you are a different gender. That is kind of the definition of being trans. It's also a type of dysphoria. But body dysphoria, absolutely not. And I definitely think that it's wrong to invalidate people because they are happy with their body and don't have uncomfortability with it. I think a lot of it probably comes from sort of, I don't want to say jealousy, but sort of being like, well, I'm really uncomfortable with my body, Why aren't you uncomfortable? Like, why do I have to be feeling like crap about everything all the time, but you're fine and you say that you're trans? I think what we need to do is realise that not everybody is the same. People experience things in different ways. Some people cope with things in different ways. No two people are exactly the same. Even in the trans community, every trans person is completely different. Yeah, we have plenty of similarities. We go through similar things in similar situations. It's very comforting to talk to the trans people. But we are ultimately very, very different people with different experiences. So if you're watching this, you're trans, and you don't experience body dysphoria, you're valid. Not everybody does. It's a fairly normal thing. I think probably more so people do experience dysphoria, but there are plenty of people that don't. And to be honest, I envy you for that, because I think I would love to walk around and just be like, this is me. Binding and packing's a pain, so to be honest, I wish. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything I have to say. I just kind of want to clear that up, because I see a lot of people referring to it, and then I think some people I've seen quite a few times have tried to explain that you need dysphoria to be trans, that's what makes you trans. And it seemed as though they were talking about gender dysphoria, but because so many people kind of just talk about dysphoria as this one big thing, it may be misconstrued a lot. And obviously there are people that just say, if you're not comfortable with your body, you're not trans, which, no, you're wrong, sorry. But yeah, so I just thought I would clear that up really, really quick. Gender dysphoria is basically being trans. Body dysphoria is not necessary to being trans. If anything, it's a pain to have, so why would you want other people to experience it and say that if they don't, they're not trans? But yeah, anyway, that's all that I've got to say. If you like this video, you found it interesting or helpful at all, please give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe down below to see more from me. I upload a new video every single Sunday, and hit that bell button to be notified when the new videos go up. And if you want to, you can follow me on my social media, it will be on the screen now. Links are also in the description below. If you want to talk about anything, you just want to vent, you want to ask any questions, any advice, anything like that, feel free to message me on any of those things. And if you're watching this, you're trans and you don't experience body dysphoria, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching, come on the journey, and I'll see you in this video. Bye.